letters that spell.
They had a certain something.
Nas was the boy wonder.
He spoke the language of the ghetto.
My raps are trifle. I shoot slugs from my brain just like a rifle.
You'd have to be brain dead not to know that that kid was a genius.
They chased one goal relentlessly.
I'll never forget this. He said, I want to be a rapper.
I know I can.
He said, yeah, I want it all.
Through struggles,
Nasir's best friend, Willie Graham, wound up getting shot.
One of the dudes pulled out a gun and shot him 3 times in the back.
I really expected Nasir to just go straight downhill from there.
and setbacks.
His mom was real ill.
I just remembered her constantly encouraging him to work hard and, not to worry about her. He knew that he had to do that for her.
Let's go!
Some people are just driven. A young MC's defiant pursuit of superstardom.
Hey, 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 hey!
He decided to distance himself away from everything that was going to keep him from his ultimate goal.
He said, it was either music or I'm going down. There's no other exit out.
Never before seen images, stories, and revelations from the people who know what really happened.
Nas was being attacked.
The Jay-Z disc came from left field.
I was like, damn, Nas is like damn near over.
Brace yourself for the main event.
Because they lived it with him.
Nas came back and he spoke his mind.
Check it out. Put your soul like ether.
He stood up like a man and faced it. It was about, I'm Nas, dog.
You a fan, a phony, a fake.
Don't forget who I am.
This is Driven, Nas.
I'm the N, the A to the S-I-R.
Nasir Jones was born September 14, 1973 at Brooklyn Jewish Hospital.
Yo, the world is yours.
As a baby, I can always remember Nas always having a smile on his face, always looking like he's up to something. I do think that it was something about him where he kind of stood out.
Check me out, y'all.
Everybody seemed to be drawn to him.
This is a journey into the world's most largest and notorious projects, Queensbridge.
We moved to Queensbridge when Nas was 3 or 4 years old.
This is the place where stars are born.
Queensbridge is located right across the river from Manhattan.
Keep on rocking the bridge, we'll keep rocking.
It's the largest project in the world and about 10,000 residents in total.
You know the block was ill as a youngster.
We grew up with bullets and, crack, just saw people shoot heroin in their arms.
This is crazy.
Queensbridge Projects was so dangerous that you're definitely hearing gunshots every night. While the shots going off and you're in your house, you're like, damn, somebody done got killed.
It can be very bad for children.
Will it take me under?
But it can also be a wonderful place to grow up.
Imagine that.
Depending on how much of a family structure is there.
The Jones apartment was a really warm, comfortable, cozy type place to be in. It was just like a family atmosphere.
My family was always very tight-knit.
Nas and his mother were very close. I thought his personality was a lot like hers. They're both very quiet people, very giving people. I wouldn't say he was a mama's boy, but most people probably would.
Nasir's musical influences were coming directly from his father.
I was trying to make a living with music. I collected instruments from all over the world. I had trumpets, guitars, keyboards.
African instruments, xylophones, like all kinds of stuff.
Got the music playing.
A lot of young musicians would be in my house constantly. People coming off the road, stop by to see me, play instruments, talk music.
Jazz, bebop to rapping.
We used to pick all the instruments up and play with them, blow it, break them and get in trouble over it,
Nas was very adept to playing musical instruments. Anything he touched, he could play. He started playing trumpet around 2. At the age of 3 or 4, he played outside on the stoops, and he drew crowds every day in the afternoons. It was an unusual thing to happen to me. The father, just listening to your son play horn like that with no lessons, and he's only 3 or 4 years old. But I stopped him from playing because his lip was getting very relaxed and droopy. And he was very upset, and he never wanted to play an instrument again. But he's always looking to do something creative. That was his whole thing. So he started writing and illustrating short stories like comic books and making up his own comic books.
He'll draw a comic book, like just like a DC comic book or a Marvel comic book with his own character, his own storyline, all kinds of people in it, all kinds of villains and everything.
The Incredible Hulk was a favorite of his, and Spider-Man. He would always write stories about them, but he would always change the attitude and the persona of the character, I guess, to reflect what he saw outside.
The next thing you know, he would start writing lyrics, playing around with hip-hop lyrics. He must have been about 7 or 8 years old.
Nas always had pencil and paper. I just remember always finding rhymes laying around somewhere.
Nas and some of the guys in the neighborhood were just beginning to rap, and they were rapping over my tapes of ancient African music. And Nas was flowing like he had been doing it since birth. It was a beautiful thing to hear.
Back in '83, I was in MC sparking, but I was too scared to grab the mics in the park.
But he didn't want to rhyme in front of crowds of people in the projects.
He was always more comfortable in his, familiar surroundings.
His mother was very much in love with Olu, and I think he was in love with her, but, musicians are never good husbands.
She needed a man around to help raise those kids at all times. I couldn't do it because I had to travel around the world and make money as a musician.
There were times when Ann had to deal with, Olu having other women in his life.
Papa was a player, player wasn't Papa. Papa loved the lady.
My father was cheating too much. He cheated and he got caught.
Running around town, don't tell your mother what's going on.
It's hard to balance personal life with a life as a musician.
If they stay together, then someone will get killed.
They used to argue all the time, and one day my mother couldn't take it no more. It was just over.
When I left, things got very, very hard. Nas was 13 years old.
It crushed him a whole lot when, Olu left.
It made Nas serious, from laughing all the time and running around, we got a little serious after that. Once my father left the crib, it was just me, Nas, and my mother.
She was working hard, working these long hours, trying to provide a way for them so that they could stay off of the streets.
She dedicated her whole life for the kids. Like, she didn't go to the movies, she didn't go out to eat. She just went to work, came home, and dealt with the kids.
If she didn't breathe, it didn't matter as long as her children were breathing. Her focus was to always instill in them self-confidence. She never let Nasir ever think that he couldn't do anything.
His mom had high expectations for Nasir, and she understood that in order for him to be successful, he would need an education.
I just remember there being one philosophy in the household. That was the Ann Jones philosophy. You went to school.
That, to her, was the ultimate achievement, something that focused her upbringing for Nasir, especially because he was so intelligent.
My mother just wanted him to be somebody in life.
But Nasir was a person who never really liked school, and he never wanted to do it.
He was the type that could pick up on anything. He didn't have to study, but he was just turned off from it.
Him and some of his other friends, they hooked school, and the more they did it, the more they wanted to do it.
He might miss a day, and then it turned into 3 days. Turn into weeks, a month.
Cut out of class just to smoke most to drink.
One day, him and his mother was having a discussion about him going to school. And he was going back, no, I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to school. I mean, it was nose to nose. He was really in his mother's face, and she was really back at him.
Then after that, he just didn't go to school anymore.
Nas was 14, dropped out of the 9th grade.
I knew that his mom was devastated.
Ann was very concerned about Nas and I slipping into street life.
Most kids, when they stop going to school, they start selling drugs.
When he dropped out, it was like kind of critical, you know what I'm saying? Because you had to know what you was going to do after that.
He was in the project slipping, just hanging out in the hood. My mother, she worried that one day he could get shot or killed.
She didn't want him to go to jail, she didn't want him to die. And he was just surrounded by all of that.
Word.